Tuesday night. We're here again. We got Jake back. Where was he? I don't know. John, where was Jake? Where was he?
I think maybe he was in Hawaii.
No.
Tacos on the bottom. We got Jake on the top. Everything looks good tonight.
I'm so offended. You guys don't know my favorite. You don't know my vacation spot? My vacation spot is the same every year.
Jake, I know your vacation spot. Like
That's right, JB. You know.
Meeting you in person, which I've never done.
What? Jake wasn't here last week?
No.
Oh,
wow.
So mean.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, you know what? All I'll say is this, because you want to start spicy? Let's go. Dave didn't have the balls to enter our fantasy football league. He was too afraid to lose money.
I was not invited.
I said it.
I was not invited. I was not.
Yes, you were.
No, I was
not. You very
not.
much were. Excuse you.
Look,
John, was I
Jake
invited?
had the worst draft out of anybody. And he's going to be the Sacco because he started really bad and he's super desperate like the Colts.
No.
You know, to get rid of Jonathan Taylor like the Colts. So
you know
Jake
what?
is Jim Irsay.
Like that?
From now on, you're Jim Irsay.
You know what? You want to go down that road, John. Let's talk about the fact that as commissioner, you gave everybody a giant pass because last year, who had Patrick Mahomes? I did. Who had Joe Burrow last year? JB did. Who can't keep them this year because you reset the league and all the picks. So anybody who screwed up got screwed over.
We voted.
Oh,
you
that's
voted.
right. You did
part
that.
Of the voting process.
Don't you, John? I voted against
Roger
it.
Goodell has to
There
make
was two
tough
people
decisions.
on that. Hold on.
So do I.
No, hold on, John. There were 3 people that voted for that. One of which was you, who you did not want me to have.
As a
Mahomes.
commissioner,
the other
like
one was
Roger
Matt,
Goodell,
who was
sometimes you have to make hard decisions.
No. I was in that conversation.
It's never easy.
The other one was Matt, who was joining the league and didn't want to end up getting a potentially.
Dave, did you miss this last week?
Bad team.
I did.
Don't even start.
So there's
bad team.
Hold on, John.
See
Hold
what's on your shirt.
I want to hear what Dave has to say, John. I want to hear what Dave has to say. But first, Dave, what kind of tacos do you have? I want to hear that as part of your everything.
So we went with something healthy tonight. It's a ground turkey beef tacos.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, so good. Yeah, and healthy.
I like it.
So hey, no, 2 things, JB. No, did not miss it. And thank you for not having me part of this league. So if that's how the
he
draft
can't handle it.
I could.
I told you he couldn't.
No, we didn't.
I told you he can't handle it.
Well,
that's all right.
And then with me winning every week, and then there's been all these lame excuses and.
You would get 400 trade offers a day from Jake. That's how that
works.
John, how many did I send to you?
Well, you send everybody else 400 bad trades. So
nope.
Well,
I sent them all to one person, and then I got a trade from somebody else, and I decided to go with that trade instead. I had two offers on the table.
And I'm assuming you would try and pull a fast one on Dave, thinking he doesn't know what he's doing. Until he turns all your offers.
I know who my competition is.
I'm winning everything I've been in, and that's why I didn't get the invite. John,
hold on. You know who I didn't ask for? Hold on. You know who I didn't ask for trades for today? You or JB. I talked to Matt very briefly.
That's because we see through your BS.
No, it's not that. It's because I know for a fact you guys are going to ask for more than I'm willing to give up. And so in my case, I go for something that I think is feasible. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But John, you are a very good trader like me. And JB, you are the same, but I work with John.
I appreciate that.
It's a pain in the butt. But yeah, Matt, let's talk about this. Why don't we? Thank you. Because Matt has the decency and respect to know that my team's not a D-. I'm not arguing that I'm the best team in the league. I'm not going to say that. But John, a D-, you're saying I'm the worst team in the league?
I think
you're just upset because you don't want me to win.
That was the worst scoring review of drafts I've ever seen. But
JB, your team's not much better. Don't start.
Yeah. Okay.
JB's got one weakness. That's it.
You know, it's funny is my drafts are so strong. I've never had a trade during the season.
Well, hey, good for you.
Well, yeah.
You know, playing a 2 QB league like this, it's not as easy as you think. It's a lot harder than it looks.
Not.
Yeah, it is.
Next year we'll get in a money league with Dave, and then we'll make him really sad, and then he won't want to talk to us anymore. That's how.
So, John, just so you know, you have a rookie running back, which we'll see. I think he'll be good, but you never know.
There's nothing wrong with
what do you got? What do you got, John?
Hold on. More importantly, you have Darren. I'm always hurt Waller, and I'm saying that as a Giants fan.
He's gonna have like 150 targets.
In the field.
Who
You
else
have,
threw
I
to?
don't know where I am, Tagovailoa. I mean, John, don't start bragging about your team because the season hasn't started. We'll
Who's
talk
your running back,
in
John?
6 or 7
Oh,
weeks.
Derrick
Tua
Henry and
gets hurt.
Bijan Robinson and Kenneth
That's
Walker.
fine.
And
Kenneth Walker.
Great.
And oh man, you're good, bro.
And I got Tyler Lockett.
No,
as
you want to
my
talk about
second
receivers?
receiver.
Oh, John, don't you dare start talking about receivers. I have the best receiving core in the league, and
Hey.
you know it. I have Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Nobody
Calvin
cares.
Ridley,
Todd's here.
and Mike Williams. Yes,
Todd's
All
here.
right.
Nobody cares.
Enough fantasy football.
best.
We have
unbelievable.
the ex NFL Seattle lineman Dave here, and you know what? We're going to bring in an ex Raider quarterback. I wore my Raiders jersey tonight for it. We got Tom Marinovich here. Why can I
John,
say his
how do you
last
say his
name,
last
Dave, and
name?
I can't say yours.
I'm going to call you out, John. How did you say his last name? Can you say that for everybody?
Sounds like you make marinara sauce on the side.
There it is. I needed to call that out because when John says
there's
stupid
nothing
things,
wrong
I
with
gotta
good
call it out.
marinara sauce.
Hey, Todd, you want to know the good thing about being on this show? You just have to sit there and smile and listen to these guys bicker, and you'll be good.
Right? I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Neither did Dave.
Neither did I, and I'm like in this thing 6 months. Hey, hey, where are you at, brother? Where are you?
I'm in the Big Island of Hawaii.
Okay, I knew you were over there. So a mutual friend of ours, a guy I played ball with at San Diego State, Mike Knudsen, is saying that you guys have been in contact recently and talking about all things green.
Yes, you know what? Our paths, me and Mike's paths crossed many years ago. And what's cool about being in this football fraternity is when we do talk, it's like seems like yesterday. So it's super cool to have a bunch of guys around me.
Yeah, it was funny. I reached out to Todd, and then I mentioned it to Dave. He's like, "Oh, I know a mutual friend. I was trying to get him on the show, and I had told you, Todd. Wild how small the world is.
It is. It is. Where are you guys? All over?
We're all over.
We're all over.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago.
I'm in Orange County with Mike, and then
right
these guys are all back east.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We're all back
all over
east.
the place.
That's one way to describe us.
So Todd, here's another thing I probably a lot of the folks don't know is about your artwork and that you are, I mean, really a great artist. Are you still doing that?
I appreciate that. And if you want to check it out, it's marinovichart.com. And I've been doing it for almost 15 years now. And it doesn't feel like work because I love to do it. I have one of the best clients in the world, Mark Davis, and I've been painting for him for about 5 years. I have pieces up in the new stadium. I don't know if you guys have been to that stadium, but fabulous. Yeah.
I might have to go in October. There is a chance I'll go visit maybe.
Oh, it's spectacular, man.
I'd love to.
There's a huge art gallery in it, and I'm super fortunate to have my stuff
all right.
up where people can see it.
So let me ask you this in case I go. Where does your art have your name on it somewhere? Is there like a little sign that says you painted it? What is, how am I going to know it's you? Because if I do see it, I got to take a selfie with it and send it to you and be like, look what I found. The best piece of art here.
Yeah. Well, I have, I think 5 pieces up, and 2 of them are right outside Mark Davis's suite. So if you make it on the suite level.
Okay, so there won't be any selfies, Todd.
I don't think they're going to let me there. I don't know about that one. That sounds real nice.
Yeah, his reputation precedes him, and he doesn't get that. He doesn't get to that level. But
yeah, so let's try somewhere else, maybe.
No, there are a few pieces down on the civilian level.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good.
Yes. And they're entertainers. So the ones outside Mark's office are Sinatra. Ones like that. So you should go check it out. It is you can't miss mine. Very colorful, and there's a placard that names it. So
perfect. There you go.
What got you into doing art?
You know what? I was an artist before an athlete, and it was my first healthy escape from life. I was doing that early on, as early as I can remember, always doodling and drawing when I should have been paying attention in class. And I knew 2 things, that art class and PE seemed to go by like that. And so I knew I was going to do something in those two areas in my life. Every other class dragged on like eternity. But anything that time just is non-existent has a magical quality about it.
So, hey, Todd, I doodle a little too.
Nice.
That's
Dave, how did I not know about this?
It was me playing at San Diego State.
And you did that?
Yeah, I did that for my mom.
That's impressive.
So
You drew that, Dave?
I have this
Hold on.
appreciation.
Dave has a hidden talent. Why don't you tell us these things?
Well,
Yeah, impressive.
I just want to impress my friend Todd now. So,
Okay.
All
right, fine. So
wait,
hold on.
Jake. With that, because I'm going to hit him up, because I do a celebrity and veterans golf invitational, and see if you'll donate maybe a piece to help us raise money for local veteran support programs in Orange County.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I mean, really, the warriors in our country, and I'm not putting them at the same level, but football players also suffer a great deal also from sacrificing themselves. So anything I can do.
Right on.
That's awesome.
all right. So
Dave,
now call Dave out real quick.
Dave said you were a great guy.
Hold on.
Oh,
So,
go
Dave,
ahead,
what
Jake.
you mean to tell me, though, was Todd's cool enough to see your art, but we're not. All right, that's fine. I get it.
Just
He played in the NFL,
Hey,
so you're in that
hey.
fraternity together. But
Hey,
I call us a show with you every week, and so do these other two, and you can't show us your art. That's fine. I just wanted to call you out on that because I feel
I'm like
a
an
little
onion. I'm like an onion. We're peeling the layers off.
Shrek?
Slowly but surely.
What are you,
I can't
Shrek
dump
under that
everything
hat?
on you. I can't
Well,
dump
you know
everything
what?
on you the first show. You know,
What's worse about that is I may have been alive to see these two guys play, and I didn't know that Dave was could draw like that.
You know
And
what?
today was the first day I spoke to Todd. I mean, this is really
met
bad.
So many
I'm a little
talented
offended.
artists that have so much self-doubt that they're afraid. I'm not saying you are afraid, but there's a lot of artists that just keep that to themselves and they don't have any desire to put it out there.
Nope.
And if it wasn't for a really close friend of mine that said, Todd, you could do this for a living, I would probably be still cleaning boats in the harbor and back in Newport Beach.
Wait, Todd,
Wow.
to your point, exactly, was after my short stint in the NFL, I played 2 seasons in Montreal in the World League of American football, and I was bored to tears. I was there by myself, and so I would draw. And one of my teammates was on the cover of the program, Roland Poussiere. He played a little bit with the Niners and stuff. Anyways, so I drew the cover, right? And then I put all his helmets on the side in the years he played for the Steelers and a couple other teams. And I gave it to him.
Nice.
And I had guys coming up to me and go, hey, man, I'll give you $300. I'll give you $500 to do one of me. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Because the second you give me money, there's an expectation. I just did that he had no expectation. I just sprung it on him. And he's like, oh, my gosh, that's badass. But then
100%.
yeah, you giving me money? I'm like, oh boy, that's gonna stress me out.
And what a gift for people. I've been giving it to people my whole life. Obviously, it started with my mom and family, but to actually, and I do this, it's just surprise. I did it this 2 weekends ago. So I went to Las Vegas, and it's the only reason I'd ever leave Hawaii was to go to the Raider reunion.
Oh, all right.
And I had a painting that I had done of Marcus Allen 12 years ago, and I just had held on to it, and getting to give him that and seeing his reaction and wanting nothing in return was priceless.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
What
So
years
one of
were
the
you
things.
with the, go ahead.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
What years were you with the Raiders?
91, 92.
All right. Oh, so you're old. And
I am old.
Not as old as me, but you're old.
Jeez, is this how you talk to your friends?
Yeah.
So you don't show your other friends your art, and
not-
then you call your other friends old. Dave, you are a piece of work, my man.
Yeah, hey, step
You're
in the
one
locker
weird
room.
cat.
Hey, Todd, step in the locker room, and that's mild.
Yes.
Wait
Hey,
up, but
it's a compliment because the alternative, I like.
Indeed.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But speaking of old, one of the things I read today while I was looking you up, you actually were the oldest quarterback to start in a professional league, and not only did you start, you destroyed when you played that game.
I did. I was 47, and it was the first time in a long time that I was clear-minded And I hadn't done that since high school. And I wanted to see for myself if I truly did love the game of football, and I did. And we beat them 77-0. It wasn't competitive. So it wasn't, as you know, Dave, it's not fun if there's no resistance. So, but just getting back in the huddle, throwing touchdown, it's a blast. But you know what? Today, I coach high school football at Ka'u, small little village on the southern tip of the Big Island. And I didn't realize how much joy I would get out of teaching these young kids, awesome. Man. It's fantastic.
What age?
I started a flag football league for 6-year-olds to 11-year-olds this summer. That was a dream. And then I also coach my son, who's a high school freshman right now. So I'm coaching the high school varsity football team. We had our first win last Saturday.
Congratulations.
They've only won one game in 10 years. So to see them, to see them excited was priceless.
The joy they must have had
Todd,
when they won.
Yes.
If it makes you feel better, in my 4 years in high school, I didn't play, but just like the 4 years I was in my high school, my football team didn't win any games. So I kind of understand what those kids are probably feeling, because I would hear about the games, and it was really disappointing, because it's not that we just lost. We would get like our butts handed to us continually. It was a little better, hear about that.
I'm feeling better about our 3 and 4 win seasons when I was playing.
Exactly. JB, you saw your teams win. You know what that felt like. I never heard of our football team winning anything. The rest of our sports were great. Our, lacrosse was really good. Soccer was good. I was on the swimming team. We were really great, both men's and women's. Baseball was good. Hockey, everybody was good. Football, everybody went to watch. Never won a single game. Varsity, I don't think JV won either. It was terrible.
So Todd, I had the opportunity to do exactly what you're doing. When I was playing in Montreal, I went back to my hometown, Glendora, California, and coached a freshman team. I just last weekend went back to Glendora. They asked me to come speak to the flag football Pee-wee all the way up to like 14, before high school. Spoke to like 200 kids at Glendora, in Glendora, California. And afterwards, 2 of the kids from that freshman team came up to me. They were, whatever, they're 40, however old they are, and they just thanked me for doing that and being there. And it's so great to be in that position that you're in, to make a positive influence on these kids and just be there and be present with them. So, eat it up and dig it, and just know you're making a difference in young men's lives.
I get more out of it than I give, and that's just a win-win.
Indeed.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That really is cool.
I have to ask, and I feel like I ask this to everybody we interview. What, especially for you being a quarterback, what was the most difficult defender you played against? Whether it was a really great pass rusher, or a really good DB, or a linebacker that could kind of do both. What was that one guy that you saw him on the field and you were like, oh my, I'm scared?
It's hands down. You remember an outside linebacker that changed the game. It wasn't LT, even though that LT put fear into me because I grew up watching LT, but it was Derek Thomas of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. Great choice.
I got to play him back-to-back games. First time I faced him was in the Coliseum, and they were a different defense. But in Arrowhead on turf, Derek could come up that corner with speed and an angle that was inhuman.
Yeah. So I just a quick Derek Thomas story. So after I got released by Seattle, I was released because they had drafted Andy Heck in the first round.
And
Andy's the one that gave up 7 sacks to him in one game. And I'm like, I'm glad that wasn't me, bro.
It's like no way can I be that bad in one game. Like, everybody has a bad game. I think I'll be okay. Now that he was bad,
but can you imagine having to watch the tape the next day with the coach?
No.
You gave up 7 sacks?
No.
I don't know. See, the question I have, and this is for Dave and Todd, watching that film, would you be more embarrassed of it was just a really, it wasn't a great performance? Or would you be watching and going, man, that really hurt. Like he was just beating me up all game. That was really uncomfortable, and reliving that feeling of him dominating.
I'm sure you've had a couple of games where you just can't wait. I mean, hope Monday morning I just don't want to do it. And you know what? Yes, sometimes it goes like that. But I'm going to tell you, poor Andy Heck did that for Coach Chuck Knox. That is an exponentially worse game review. Right. It depends on the coach too, and and how they decide to coach you. But I couldn't imagine that went well.
No, and it could be some of the most uncomfortable minutes of your life when you're put on the spotlight, and they'll even put a laser on you to point you out in front of your peers.
That's horrible.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, you just don't want to let down your guys. And you know what? Playing at that level, it happens to everybody at some point.
Yeah. Because those guys are getting paid a lot of money too. So here's one other thing that I found, and I don't know if this happened to you, but those games in which I thought I killed it, I go bouncing into film, chest all out, and I just was not good, And then those films where I'm thinking, man, I really just didn't do well. I'm like, holy crap, that was a good game. It's like I got lineman of the game on a game I thought I was just doing horribly in.
Yeah. The film session as a teaching tool was probably one of the greatest ways of growth for myself, because it started in high school. And like you said, I thought I was doing something that I wasn't until I got to see myself.
Yeah, the film don't lie.
No.
It really, like Todd said, it's probably one of the best teaching tools of football, because you can actually sit there and dissect it. You can see, your mechanics, especially for Todd, who was a quarterback, or Dave, a lineman, your footwork, how you drop it back. You could see everything.
Yes, and because of the angle, being in the pocket, your vision is covered by hands or helmets, and then when you get to see it from above and then behind, you get two versions of it. It's priceless. Yeah, because every receiver comes back to the huddle and says they're open.
They're open.
You get to watch that on tape.
All right, so Todd tells the truth.
Said they weren't open.
Never.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
I can't imagine.
That's exactly what I was going to ask, JB. How do you know?
Because they're never not opened. They're like the biggest divas.
It's like a heavyweight fighter. Are they going to win? Yeah, every time.
Todd, so it's a good thing JB brought that up, because I asked you obviously who your least favorite player, or your the defender. Who's your favorite teammate? I don't want to get you in trouble with any old teammates, but
100%. Marcus Allen was the best football player I've ever played with. And to give you an idea, when I was a rookie and we'd play away, he was the only player in opposing stadiums to get a standing ovation. Says it right there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, was a guy by the name of Mark Mraz there when you were there, the defensive end?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So here's another thing. So when I went back to Glendora, Mraz and I grew up together from childhood. And so we actually had dinner before I went to go speak with these kids, and we had a chance to catch up. And so then, we both got drafted, played in the NFL just for a little bit. He did the Falcons and the Raiders. And then we played head-to-head in Germany when he was in the World League for one season. He was with Germany. I was with Montreal. And that was a kick in the pants for me. But I know he had a short stint there, so that's funny. He was there at the same time as you.
Yeah. You know what? I had a short stint, and it was, I always say, quality, not quantity. And what a freaking experience I had with playing with some guys like Howie Long, Ronnie Lott, Tim Brown. It's a Hall of Fame list, and it was
pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Greg Townsend's a good friend of mine as well. Hey, so Todd, what are you doing now besides the artwork? What else you got going?
I'm full-time coaching. I had no idea how much time this would take and consume, but it's worth every penny. Living in Hawaii, obviously, I'm in the water almost daily. I don't want to rub that into anybody, but it's summer every.
But you're gonna do it anyway.
Do you need any assistant coaches? I'm available.
What's that?
You need any assistant coaches? I'm available.
Yes,
send a resume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Always looking to add to the staff.
Hold on, Todd. I believe we all just saw that. Is there a dog in your car? If so, What is his or her name? Because I love dogs and I get so excited when I see them.
This is Scrappy Doo.
Scrappy Doo.
That is a fantastic name.
And if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
That is awesome. All right, so Todd, then I have to ask you, and I hope you will understand this reference because I'm assuming you have seen the Scooby-Doo movies, the live actions. Yes. Does Scrappy Doo get out of the car and just piss all over the place like in the movies, or is Scrappy a little bit more well trained?
No, when I got into the car to come to practice, because I'm sitting outside practice, he peed right on my tire. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I will tell you this, Todd. Live it up to the name. That is exactly what you would expect. That is awesome.
Hey, guys, before I run, I just want to keep you posted on something that there's a movie coming out called Buzzy, and it's another documentary, the Marinovich. It's a tongue twister. The Marinovich Project came out, 13 years ago, and we shot this film Buzzy for the last 10, and it comes out next year.
Oh, awesome! Great. Can't wait.
Buzzy's what I called my dad, and he called me. Yeah.
Come on before it comes out so we can let everyone know when it comes out.
You said
Hey, Todd. Hey, appreciate you coming on. I'll get your information from JB and maybe from Knutz or somebody how to reach out to you and stay in touch with you. I appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Thank you, and aloha.
Definitely. What's the website one more time before you go, Todd?
Yeah.
What was your website one more time before you go?
MarinovichArt.com.
Awesome.
There you go. Check it out.
Thanks again for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Todd.
Good luck, Coach.
Coach, yes. Coach Todd.
Have a great one.
Have a good one. Scrappy Doo.
He was great.
That made my day.
I loved it.
I love a dog whenever I see one. I told you, I was so excited. I just saw him like kind of like pushing the dog away. I was like, no, let me see. What is it? I want to know.
You just wanted the dog on camera. I know.
That's all I wanted. Todd was awesome. I gotta see the dog.
Todd was a great guest, and I'm glad to see him doing well. And I'm gonna go check out his artwork. Once you see it, you'll notice it is a very impressionistic style. A lot of sports influence, but he does a lot of entertainers as well. And so it'd be great. It'd be great to have one of his pieces at our event.
And we'll visit the art because we'll be at the Super Bowl, which is in Vegas. So we'll be able to go and visit.
Like I said, I'm hoping when I go in October for work, fingers crossed, we'll be able to go to the stadium. And if that's the case, I will get video and pictures for us, and I will bring it to the show on that Tuesday. Well, but I'm going in October, so I might as well try and get some stuff in advance. That's all. Yeah. I'm thinking, he's
going to scout out the playing field.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right.
We're sending him as a scout.
That's right. JB gets it.
So where are we going from here? I mean, we had a great guest. What's next? I mean, there's so much to talk about.
I think everything's downhill from there.
I think so. Well, today was NFL Cut Day, and before we go into a lot of big stories, there was like I don't know if I call it a smaller story, but a story that I saw just an hour and a half ago, and I was just I scroll on Instagram, I see things, and I go, oh, this is kind of cool, and I'll bring it up on the show. The Jags, as like everybody else, had to cut players, and that's pretty normal. But Doug Peterson's son was on his roster, and Doug Peterson had to cut his own son. Ooh. And I don't know. So I bring that up because, I give Doug Peterson a lot of credit. A lot of guys would go, nepotism wins. I'm letting my son stay. No, he cut his son. And very, very minor story, but like I like the Jags this year, and I think we've talked about this enough that I think they're going to be a good team. I like, Peterson as a coach, even though he brought me my worst memory in football probably ever, but not the point. I won't talk about that Super Bowl as much as that hurt me, and still hurts me to this day. But with that said, I give Doug a lot of credit because it's kind of cool. He cut his own son. It's kind of depressing that, or sad rather, that his wife is probably going to be pissed at him when he comes home.
No, because
I give him credit.
He's going to keep his job and his salary.
Yeah.
Believe me.
I'm just saying. I give him credit. Like, you gain respect in the locker room. You cut your own son. Like,
I think she'd rather have his salary than her son playing for him.
You never know. Just one of those things I saw. I was like, good for him.
It's a stand-up
good
move.
look.
It was the right thing to do if he
Good
didn't deserve to be on the roster. You know,
Just
there's
little
a
things
lot
I
of
say.
guys
So anyway,
that got cut today. You know, it's
there's a lot of guys that got. It's a sucky day for everybody, but there are guys that didn't get cut or moved, and I think I know one that John wants to talk about.
Oh yeah, of course we have to talk about Jonathan Taylor. Not getting traded to the Dolphins. I mean, there was apparently a mystery team. The Dolphins were the front runner. They were.
All right, I'm just muting because I just don't want to hear him talk about the Dolphins. I'm not in the mood to hear the Dolphins talk.
I mean, if we're talking about the story, it has to do with Taylor and the Dolphins.
I know,
so
John. You gotta know I'm just messing with you. I mean, you bring up the Dolphins, I have to mess with you. It's my job.
But what's the story here? He didn't get traded.
It's a complete mess by the Colts. They refused to back off of wanting a first-round pick for Taylor. They actually wanted more.
Deadline day.
They wanted more. They wanted more than what the Niners gave up for CMC. They wanted more than what the Dolphins gave up for Jalen Ramsey. They wanted a king's ransom, and nobody's doing that. We talked about running backs. Nobody's doing that.
But isn't this a non-story because it's cut day, right? It's not the trading deadline.
No,
they
but
still have plenty of time to trade him. So what's the story
Colts
about it?
gave him a deadline today. 4 o'clock today.
No, it's not just that. I think the other big thing is Jonathan Taylor's healthy as far as.
Nope, he's on the pup list.
That's not what I said. He is healthy as far as you can probably take a wild guess at, and he would probably tell you the same. He's perfectly healthy. But he, as John alluded to, yes, he's on the pup list, which is part of the issue at hand, is because they put him on the pup list, meaning they're saying, he can't play. We're saying he's not healthy. Whether he's passing physicals or not, I don't know. He is on a list saying that he cannot play at the moment. He's not healthy to play, which means he's out for 4 games, which is really the story of all of this. Because I think it's fair to say, and John, you'd probably agree, and Dave and JB, you probably would as well, if he were traded today and he had to take a physical, I don't see why he wouldn't pass. I tend to think he probably would. But the Colts put him on the pup list, and it kind of feels a little bit like the Deshaun Watson situation again. Not in the same regard of like why they are there, but in the regard of the team just doesn't really want him to play. They're just being vindictive, and they're just kind of being jerks about it. And so that's really the story behind all of it. That's why, to John's point, and JB, to answer your question, it was so important for him to get traded today, because if he got traded today, he probably can start like next week for whoever.
Yeah, but it's really it's almost a non-story because it's the same thing that's been going on. There's nothing new to it except he didn't get traded today.
Well, that's a big story.
It's a big deadline for him.
Because the Dolphins, and I think the Eagles were another team that were in on it, trying to get him. Because if the Eagles landed Jonathan Taylor, but you can forget about Swift, you can forget about Penny. Like if Taylor went to the Eagles, you weren't stopping that offense.
No,
right?
Lights out.
No.
It was lights out if they got
why
him.
is it Buffalo when I'm trying to get him that they still need to run again? That's the bigger question.
I would
too big of an asking price, maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just guessing as to why.
If the Dolphins are in, they should be in. Yeah, Dave?
What?
What were you saying before you were interrupted?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought
I was agreeing. I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, Buffalo.
You're not used to that, probably.
No, I'm not. I don't get that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, here's what's been so apparent: the missing link for the Bills is a running game. For the last 3 seasons, they have 0 running game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, your quarterback cannot be the leading rusher. Team.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster. They've gotten lucky that Josh Allen hasn't gotten hurt. Not even a major injury. Like a 4 or 5 game injury. That's going to kill that team. Who's their backup?
Yeah. I don't even know.
I believe it's unless he got cut or he retired, which. Maybe he did retire. I feel like I heard something about that, but it was Matt Barkley. I don't know if he.
I think he's.
I believe he.
Former USC guy.
I want to say I heard something about retiring, but I could very well be wrong. I'm checking on that real quick, but
and
that
if you
was
remember when after he got hurt with the elbow, the Bills weren't the same. He couldn't throw the ball the way he was earlier in the season, and it totally changed what happened with them towards the end of the year. So you would think logically, if I'm running the team, I'm the GM, I want to get him a running back. I want to get him out of the situation of running and more, drop back pass and hand the ball off.
Yeah.
So I can actually compete against the Chiefs and the Bengals come January. So I can play in February because that's the ultimate goal. To play that game in February.
It's not just that. I think a run game is so important, and Dave probably would agree. It just wears defenses down. Like if you can really continue to run it down their throat and you force them to be on the field for a while, by the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, somewhere around there, defenses are like, I'm exhausted because I've been on, 10, 12 play drives that just.
Well, but more importantly, Jake, that's one aspect of it, especially, how many of these teams that don't have a running game blow leads because they keep passing the ball, turning it over on downs or whatever.
Absolutely.
But more importantly 100%. Is creating that play action. If there's zero respect for the run game, backers are dropping, safeties aren't crashing.
Yep.
When you see the big plays is when a safety gets sucked up because they're just getting just trounced up the middle and they're coming up for support. And all of a sudden, it's going over their head. Well, there's no run game. There's no reason for them to come up for run support.
Yeah,
those linebackers step up, and as soon as they take that one step up, lean in, and then go back, they throw right across the middle to the tight end, right over the linebacker's head.
Or the slot receivers cut in the middle.
And it's 15-yard catch and run.
Actually, most linebackers are taught to take one step forward because that's just typical linebacker play. But if they take one or two, then they're sucked in. And they're going to do that with a good run game. I'm telling you, if you're playing against, some of the, these good.
That's what makes the 49ers so formidable.
You better get up to the line of scrimmage, otherwise they're going to just gash you.
Not only that, but the RPO, like with teams that can actually run the ball, like the Eagles, with their RPO. You got to defend Jalen Hurts, whether he can run or pass. You got to defend the running back. And so if you've got to respect that run game for Jalen Hurts and the running back and the passing game, Dave, I don't know if you ever had to defend the RPO, but I would imagine that is a hell of a thing for a defensive end or somebody like that.
You
know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like having to be involved in that. Like that wouldn't be fun having to.
That's come around just in the last decade, so it's relatively new concept. Fly sweep zone was something actually when I mentioned I coached in high school as well, and I was with a coach. We had a set of twins that were I think 5'6" and ran 4.3 40s, and he came up with this fly sweep zone, and they were twins, so they meshed. You didn't know who had the ball. But whoever came up with it was gone for 60. We rushed for 4,300 yards in one high school football season. It was unheard of. And so the next
thing, 5,000 slacker.
Yeah, the next year, the coaches from Oregon came down and we were teaching this fly sweep zone to collegiate coaches and other high school coaches. We had coaches complaining from Hawaii to hear how to block it and run it. So that's all in the 2000s. This is all relatively new. This offense.
I can't imagine being a defensive end.
It's tough, because
it's hard.
You got to respect the ball's still right there.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it could be boom, boom.
All about contagion.
You're coming up to respect where you think it's going. You're just in no man's land the whole game.
Yep.
Once you start thinking as a defensive end, that's when you're beat. There's responsibilities. You have contained. You're supposed to rush a certain way, and that's how you're supposed to rush. I've been in many practices, heard many coaches yell about it. It's simple. It sucks because we're all people and human, and we have reactions. You can't do that as a defensive end. You have a responsibility to rush a certain way. It's almost like on kickoffs. You have to have outside contagion. You never want to give up the sideline. So you play a certain way. You have certain responsibilities. Same thing. No matter what the offense does, because we're human and we react to the ball fakes and everything, that's why it's so difficult. To be a good defensive end, you almost have to take out your reaction and just play the ball, play your position the way you're taught. And it's so difficult.
Yeah, it is. But really to the point is If you have a run game, which it really all boils down to, if you have a run game, your
Changes
offense is
it.
3-dimensional versus 2-dimensional. Simple as that.
Yep. Without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The Bills maybe think that they have James Cook and they like him, and I think he's a good running back. I can't say I've seen enough of him to know what he's going to be in the NFL.
Right.
What I can tell you is a guy like Jonathan Taylor in the NFL is really good. I've seen him enough. I'm pretty confident to say, yeah, he's pretty good at what he does. James Cook, I've seen a little bit of him, and I'm like, I think he's got potential, but I don't know.
49ers got it last year. I mean, they had decent running backs. What they do, they went out and got CMC.
They got the best. I mean,
their offense on paper looks better than Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's offense is Mahomes. That's why.
It's just Kansas City has got Mahomes. Yeah. Exactly.
And
if Mahomes was on San Francisco, they'd probably score 70 points a game.
Oh, my God. They'd never stop. They'd score 100 points a game. Forget that. They'd score 100. They'd mercy.
Speaking of the Niners, what about them getting rid of Trey? The quarterback. I mean, it's number 3 pick. I mean, that's
it was a
couple years in.
I give them credit for realizing that wasn't the way they wanted to go.
Yeah,
but it looks bad.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks bad, but
that's a lot of money.
You know what? I agree.
It's a big pick to get rid of. It's like, no, we were wrong. Well, here's one nice thing though. At least saying, we were wrong, and he is a talented. I mean, he was obviously talented enough to get picked at that high end and success in college. Yeah. They give him a shot somewhere else. It's just not a good fit there. And let's see if he fits somewhere else and give him a shot.
Sure.
Any other surprises preseason? Anybody stick out to you? All I know is I'm reaching out to Raphael, and I'm taking the Seahawks. I'm taking the
Raphael
to win 8.5. I think they're going to win 10, 11, maybe even 12 games this year.
Nice.
Raphael was wrong, by the way. He said, if you want to bet anything in the NFL preseason, bet the Ravens to win all their preseason games. They lost
2 in a row after that.
That's right.
Well,
so I don't know if I'm shocked by that, but more so, Raphael, wherever you are, maybe this is why you're not on the show, you better watch out because you might have some angry people. You told them all, bet on the Ravens. They don't lose. And then they lost 2 in a row.
Thousands of dollars I lost the last couple of weeks. So,
I mean, he's in the Bahamas spending that money. That's where he is.
You know what I was surprised by? Jordan Love. He looked composed. I don't think the Packers are going to be very good, but compared to what he was in last year, he looked relaxed and he looked like he's ready to lead a team. Do I think they're going to be a great team or what they were with Rodgers? No. I'm not saying that, but compared to what he was last year, right? Compared to what they were last year and how they were all dogging him when he came in, I'm glad to see he went out and performed well, and I hope he does well.
It's preseason with vanilla defenses. You're not actually seeing the coverages that they're going to run. They're not.
I mean, it's good to see him at least not
corners off
getting
the
out there.
edges. Like they're running basic defenses.
John, it's still NFL caliber.
It's not even close.
When he is in, he's in against the first string, John, because he's the starter. It's still NFL caliber.
It's not the same thing because
John,
they're not
that's
running.
Not the point. You're missing what he's saying.
They're complicated. They're complicated defensive schemes that guys like Vic Fangio are going to run. They're not running them in preseason.
You're arguing a whole
week one.
JB, I understand exactly what JB's saying, and I totally agree. The last time we saw Jordan Love, he looked scared. He looked, like he had no confidence.
In a real competition, yeah.
Just hold on. All we're saying, just in any NFL action, he just didn't look comfortable out there. He just looked super uncomfortable. It just looked like he did not belong out there, at least in the preseason. I'm not saying he played the 49ers, first team elite defense mid-season or late season form. I'm not saying that. And I know JB is not either, so I agree with him on this. It was just good to see Jordan Love physically stepping on the field and looking like, okay, I'm good. I belong here. I will be okay, which builds confidence for him to start the season. I'm not saying he's going to be good. And I don't think JB is either. I think it's just like, it's nice to see him not being like, oh my God, where do I go? Scared. Instead, he's just calm, cool.
He was
collected.
Awful last year.
He looked fine.
He came in.
He looked like
he could handle an offense.
He'll be awful again.
We're not.
By the way,
let's just have another conversation because John is missing the point.
In preseason, the year they went 0-16 in the regular season. Preseason means nothing.
We're not talking about wins or losses, Joe.
No, I'm just saying preseason doesn't mean nothing.
John,
I take nothing.
We're not talking about his stats. We're not talking about how he's throwing the ball. We're literally just saying he stood on the field and looked at least like he wasn't uncomfortable. That is the only statement we've made, and I completely agree with that. It's just physically good to see.
Congrats.
I could say this. You know what, John? Congrats. Tua didn't get a concussion. Like, is this the game we want to play? No, I don't think so. Let's not go.
That's a little bit in bad taste.
Well, to argue that we're just stating a guy looked comfortable on the field isn't in bad taste. We're just making a comment
at all,
that,
because you're talking about a guy with concussion injury and a guy that potentially could have died. And you're bringing that up, so yeah, it's in bad taste. It's nothing compared to.
I don't think so.
The organization didn't care much. Well, can't argue that one.
That's really not our faults. I mean, that's on your Dolphins. But that's not here or there because
Hang on, I got a really important topic that we're talking about. Dolphins and bad taste. Did anyone see what Eli Apple's ex-girlfriend said?
Yeah, it was really horrible.
His baby mama.
Yeah.
She put on Instagram she will pay any player that hurts him.
Yeah.
Now, I have the
She'll
Dolphins
pay their
defense.
fine. That's pretty horrible.
I have the Dolphins defense, so I'm deeply offended by this, and it hurt me to draft the Dolphins.
That's why you're so offended.
That they were the best of the rest that were left, and they have a decent defense. I'm not saying they don't, but I had to see this after I drafted them, and to see, I've never in my life. She put a bounty. Roger Goodell, stop this. In all honesty, I mean,
horrible.
That's really bad taste.
Yeah, it's
a lot of these guys get involved with women that they shouldn't get involved with, and then it ends up being.
That's not at all what we're talking about.
No, but you said that was his ex-girlfriend.
She does have 4 children for 4 different NFL players. Allegedly, that's what I read online, so I don't know if it's true or not.
Allegedly is a very key word.
Apple, bad decision, Eli.
Well, that's not the first time he got burned.
Well,
Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. That wasn't supposed to be out loud. That was supposed to be in my head.
Yeah, but that was the wildest thing I think I've seen this week.
Yeah, it was.
It's like the Saints putting a bounty out on Brett Favre.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. She's probably paying for that with his child support money she's getting.
That's right. So Eli Apple's basically paying
for his own bounty.
I was gonna say, is Eli Apple like trying to tell us something? He's paying to be hurt. Is this like Fight Club? Like, what's going on here?
Between that,
we got a couple minutes left.
The fans in Colorado, I think there was, running to take a selfie with Ronald Acuna Jr.
Oh, you said his name right. I'm proud of you.
What are you doing running on the field, first of all? And second of all, I don't know if anyone got to see the video. The first guy that got there actually had his hand around Acuna. I give him a lot of credit for not knocking the fan out because, Dave, I mean, come on. If a fan ran on the field that came over to you, you're going to knock him out, right? Because you don't know for your safety.
Probably.
That's a fair assumption that you would.
Wait, male or female? I mean, I don't know.
It was a male.
God.
They don't belong.
I hope Emery doesn't hear this. You might get in trouble
because you don't know if they have a weapon.
Fans running on the field are fair game. Yeah,
I agree.
At your own risk.
I mean, especially when you're getting paid millions a year. God forbid somebody hurts you. You can't take that chance. So I give him a lot of credit for not doing anything. And the security, I mean, the guy was out there a long time before they got there.
Yeah.
It was a horrible situation.
There was 2 of them.
You know what?
Well, the second one was later,
But the other
they were at the same time.
Yeah, but the first one got there was holding him for a while before the second one got there. It was
the most fit, though.
What? Hold on. What if the fan is sick? Like, could you just think about that too, right? Like
nowadays with COVID, that could be.
Yeah, like COVID's back on the rise. Unfortunately, what if this person is sick and
what if they had a weapon?
Get sick? I mean, I know he's got
rabies.
Yeah, I mean, who was it? What was the tennis player that got stabbed? Was it Monica Seles?
Yeah,
it's Monica Seles. Yeah. I mean, last week somebody people got shot at whatever the White Sox stadium is.
Yeah.
They don't even know if the gun was in the stadium or outside. So, I mean, now you have this happen. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always wonder, how do fans get on the field? And I don't mean that like, we can
hard.
answer. It's kind of rhetorical, but it's like, I think about it, right? You hear these stories, this fan got on the field. How do they let that happen? Like, unless you're like front row, there's usually, like, every stadium I go to, there's plenty of security within like a couple, like, let's say 5-10 rows. There's usually security pretty close by where you're sitting. Like, unless, like I said, unless you're like that front row.
When I went to the Guardians game, I mean, we were like a couple rows back in right field, and these guys sitting right in front of us, they were trying to get their friend to go on the field. Like, they were all drinking and stuff. They were trying to get their friend. It's not hard. I
would agree with John, especially in baseball. I mean, the fences are low.
Well, I'm just talking about in general.
No,
I didn't mean for baseball only. I was just
for baseball. I mean, hockey would be hard to get in. Football, so those walls are much higher. I mean, but a baseball game,
super.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do.
When there's a will, there's a way, Jake. It's not that hard.
Especially if somebody's been drinking, they don't.
I'm not going to disagree. I only say it again. It's a rhetorical kind of question. It's one of those things I think about because again, like where I go is, I go to Yankee Stadium. Again, I'm in New York area.
Well,
so
Yankee Stadium security is different compared to
Yankee Stadium. I go to the Garden. I go to MetLife, and like whenever I go to a game, there's within 5-6 rows of me usually some sort of security person. So again, I know every stadium's not the same. I just, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. I'm like, how do they let this happen? Like there should be security, especially by the wall.
There is. They're standing like they're close enough. But I mean, all it takes is jumping over the wall and off and running. It's I mean,
again, it's a rhetorical question. I'm just it's food for thought. It is scary. It is. It's I don't know. Hey, look, Acuna is okay, thankfully. Yeah. Nobody got hurt, but I do agree with what you said, JB. If I were him, I would have punched him. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit of an angry person sometimes.
Think about this though. What happens if he did punch him and he hurt himself? There's so many ways that could have went.
That's true.
Yep.
The Ron Artest thing, the Malice at the Palace.
Oh no! Yeah. This is totally different.
No, I'm just saying, like fans get where they shouldn't be. Fans get they put themselves in places where they shouldn't be, and athletes just get tired of you yell at them or you throw something at them or whatever. Like these are humans, man. So like you start throwing stuff and saying the wrong thing, it's like you can only push somebody so far.
I'm all for booing, yelling, maybe
but
even
crossing a line,
light cursing, but never derogatory things, never families, never throwing stuff. There's a line.
Slurs,
none of
that.
Really quickly, I got to mention one thing. I almost forgot about it. And I don't know, we were talking about booing, and I'm thinking about, I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game, and it made me think of the Yankees. Today was a great day if you're a Yankee fan, because the New York Yankees finally cut bait and just cut Josh Donaldson. And I just wanted to take a moment, and I know nobody else on this panel really cares. Maybe JB cares a little bit. But I was just really happy. Like,
I'm glad we got rid of him, but
he just annoyed me. He was really bad. And he's probably going to retire, so I guess good luck in retirement, Josh Donaldson. But Josh Donaldson's no longer a Yankee, so today was a really good day in that regard.
Yeah, to me, Josh Donaldson's done just like this show is pretty much done. We had a great show. We had Todd who was here, MernovicArt.com. If you missed him earlier, he was a great guest. If you get a chance to go to the First and Gold Project Foundation golf tournament, I think he's gonna have a piece of art there. I think Dave took care of that, which will be really cool.
That's right.
Bid on that because that's gonna be worth a lot of money one day. You can get a great deal at helping the veterans.
Awesome. Speaking of Dave, just Dave, we're gonna go to you first because I know you got something to promote right now.
Yeah, hey, so as soon as we bounce out of here, I'm heading over to Hawk Talk and having a lot of fun with Walter Thurman and Trey Madden. This week's guest is going to be Chris Warren, 3-time Pro Bowl running back with the Seattle Seahawks. And every week we have a 12th man, and this week is Sharon Mima Hawk Smith Mitchell, and she's with the easy to say, right? The South Sound Seahawkers, and she has a cancer walk that she promotes. So we always have a 12 man on there, and we're prepping for the first game of the season, and the first game of the season is Alumni Weekend, so I'll be heading up to Seattle for that.
Oh,
and
nice.
Come and check out the show. We're having a lot of fun with it.
Tell Chris about the 4,300 yards in a year and see what he thinks, because I'm sure he's going to love that.
John,
yeah,
what do you got for us?
Blue Hawks 13, NFL Alumni Media, and of course Sideline Sports. The most important place with the most important face.
Stop talking. JB
_ the program, right here every Tuesday, 8:30, of course, Sideline Sports. Tomorrow, Confidential. Next week, the J&J Sports Express will be back for the NFL season, so make sure you're watching that as well.
It's back. For all our gambling fans, go watch that, please. I am Jake _Malik on Twitter. Most importantly, as you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen, is all our social medias for Sideline Sports and everything associated with us. And on that note, everybody go watch Talk. And thank you, Dave. Be good humans indeed. Everybody have a good one, and we'll see you next time.